enough to send you home.
that's what I'm talking about. Like it's almost like they were almost blindfolded when they were trying to diagnose me.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
Welcome to Tulsa Talks, where we have conversations with everyday people from everyday walks of life. Our guest today is Elijah Payne. Elijah is a repeat guest. This is his second time in. Today he's going to talk about a tragedy that happened during his youth. Elijah, welcome to the podcast.
Craig, it's nice to be here and talk to everyone and spread the intel to the community. Well, I have a story that started back long ago. I can't remember, but it was about a person that was very nice with everyone, was loved by many, and was taken too soon. And it was just a story about spiraling through addiction, like a lot of people has, and a lot of people still are. And it helped me down the line stop doing hard drugs like methamphetamine and stuff like that and whatnot.
Yeah, you were saying that you guys were around 14 years old and had been drinking a little bit, and then it escalated to other things.
Well, he was about about 15 when we started drinking. And we all hung out at some party, and the people that left got arrested, so they never came back to the house. So we was just at some random person's house, and it was wild. And that's just one of the nights, but it was just wild stuff after the wild stuff, just normal partying, teenage stuff, until her brother got out of I don't know where he was. He was in recovery, actually. I think he got out for being clean. Then he came out and he hopped right back into the scene, right off the bandwagon. And it was just not a good situation after that, with her brother showing up, and everything just got worse. And it got finally to the point where I wanted to stop doing stuff, and I wanted to have like an actual life and do things normally.
But was that enough? Was
Was
that
it
enough
enough?
at that point for you to stop doing those things? Or were you still battling inside and continue to
It,
do it down that road?
it was, but what was battling down inside of me was just doing it with the people that I wanted to be there with me, I guess.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, like I
Yeah.
wanted to be there with the person, so I was just doing it with them. And it's a hard cycle to break from.
Yeah.
But there was like the rock that brought everyone together, and we would hang out at their house, like all my friends, her friends. We'd all hang out at her house and whatnot, and then it just spiraled out of control. Like her brother would do weird sociopathic stuff. Like, not quite sure if it's sociopathic or what, but he would just like step on light cords that were shorted, like they were old cords, and make the lights flicker and try and make all the girls believe that he had some sort of power or some sort of strange. It's like he wanted fear over them, you know? He wanted fear over these girls. And it just got to the point where where this girl didn't want to be alone with her own brother, let alone with her friends with him. And she just kept going down the same path. I didn't want to, so I left on a long binge, and that was it for a long time. But her grandmother was like a very sweet lady. She accepted me. She didn't have to. She was a real strict lady, and I was a definitely was a delinquent. She didn't have to accept me, but she did. She seen the good that was in my heart. And I wasn't just a regular delinquent that was thieve and steal and all of that. I was just there. But it wasn't enough for her to survive because her kindness was probably her death because apparently her grandson, killed her, stabbed her over the dirty dishes. In quotations is what it said
Yeah.
in the police report, but
Yeah.
it's
Did they
definitely.
prove him guilty of this?
Oh yeah.
He went to prison for a little while.
And no, he's instant prison right now in Oklahoma prison for a life sentence. And he said that I don't remember what he said, but he was just crazy. He said that he was on the phone with somebody after he did it, and I don't remember who, but I don't know the whole situation. I tried to just avoid it, not read it. But grandmother was a sweet lady. She didn't deserve that. She was like crawling. They found the blood as she crawled to the bathroom. It was pretty bad. And then one of my friends found her dead body. And that's just what it takes sometimes for people to quit doing drugs or doing what they shouldn't be doing, is to see one of their loved ones die. So sometimes maybe you should just like try to steer people away from it more.
Before that happens.
Yeah, but I tried, so it's kind of hard to say.
Right. Sure. Yeah,
Because
you're stuck in that environment with those people that you care about. And like you said, it might be as much to have something in common and be able to continue those relationships, even though that's a bad decision. It's the best decision to be able to find other people to hang out with that are not doing that, that can support you and help you stop that. And then let's fast forward a little bit. You told me about the grandmother's daughter or granddaughter was found a little bit later.
Yeah. So grandma was killed and stabbed, and then I don't even know if they found the murder weapon or not, but they ended up finding her, or no, they ran outside, and one of the neighbors, I think, heard them yelling, saying that you'll never take me, you'll never have me forever, you can't have me forever, like he was taking her, like to kidnap her, whatever, which leads me to believe more of along the lines of he was doing sexual deviant things to them. And they found her. He took her in the van. They found her out by the Sky Duke Lake.
So the brother took her in the van?
Yeah, and then stabbed her to death. And she had hand wounds, and it was pretty bad. She had hand wounds, like she was fighting back for her life and didn't want to go. And that's what happened. And then, like, not even, I don't know how long ago, but it was like not super long time ago. It was a couple of years ago back, maybe 3 or 4. But this happened a long, long, long time ago. I can't remember what year. But this, like, he sent email. He sent mail because you can't email or whatever. But he sent mail, a letter. The girl that found the dead body, saying just weird, bizarre stuff, like talking about stuff like he was trying to plead insanity, but he tried to plead insanity, but he didn't get it. So he's doing his life sentence in jail.
Yeah.
Or prison or whatever the case called.
Yeah. This girl that you met, how old was she when you met her? Was it right about the same time that you guys started doing alcohol and then progressed into drugs, or had you known her before that?
I knew of her more like she knew of me. Everyone knew me because I was delinquent. and they all knew me, and then they
Yeah.
started drinking, and then
How long was
they
that
happened.
period before you started drinking with her? Before she started drinking?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but she was drinking, and then I was drinking at a party. We were both at a party. That's how it happened. I think it was probably like it's like almost impossible for me to remember from
Yeah.
all the stuff that has happened since then.
A lot
And
of people judge those people that go through those hard times, and it's kind of understandable that you guys chose to drink, you chose to do the drugs, and you chose to go down a bad path. But we're all born into this world,
mm-hmm.
and we all have those life experiences that can be challenges, even at a young age. Tell us about, as far back as you can remember, about Elijah Payne yourself and what your childhood was like.
My childhood was very difficult. It was just my dad didn't really work out too well. They split up and divorced at a young age, and then
How old were you? About?
maybe 4, 5, 3, and
So you were
then
old enough to realize what had happened
a
during
little
that
bit,
time.
yeah,
A little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I knew we were leaving. I knew we were going somewhere. I didn't know why they were splitting up, and then I definitely got abandonment issues at that point. So I remember always crying for my parent, whichever one I didn't have. And then we moved around a lot, and I moved around a lot with my mom. We moved around from house to house, and I don't want to like throw her under the bus or nothing, but my mom did some drugs whenever she was in a younger age, whenever she was with us. So we went around trailer to trailer, house to house, stuff like that. And she was abused by my half sister, my little sister that I talked to you about at the gym, was helping me work out and stuff. She her dad was like a really bad meth addict, and like had my mom all strung out, and
Yeah. So
they would
generational issues can impact a child's
I believe
youth.
it can, but I mean that's different. I also don't believe so because at the time I didn't know they were doing that stuff, you know. So how would that reflect my brain now?
Yeah. Well, you were aware enough that your mom and dad were not going to be together anymore. You were aware enough to know that your mom was doing things that was not like herself when
Mm-hmm.
you were younger. You were aware enough to know that these challenges of moving from place to place not only affected her, but it affected you as well. You know that a broken family, um, or just broken parents, can influence a child's behavior.
Yeah, and it's like I moved. We lived with my dad for a while, but there's always like segregation over there. We had step siblings, 3 of them. They all would sleep in one room. Me and my my sister would sleep in one room, and she would always get in fights with them all the time. So it was like just constant battling, and then it was just unfair, like consequence consequences were unfair. Like I was grounded for like a year just for bailing out of school early on the last day of school. I left. When I was a kid, I went to go see my girlfriend. I was young. She was much older than me. She was like 17, 18, and I was like 15, maybe 14. I can't remember. But bailed, and my dad grounded me for like a year, took away my phone. My mom was kind of upset 'cause she paid for the phone, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I stayed in there in my room for the most part, played guitar, played instruments, taught myself how to read guitar tabs, stuff like that. And then he would let me have one friend over as long as they stayed the night, stuff like that. And sometimes he'd let me stay the night at his house, rarely. And my dad worked a lot, and I was it's just been difficult, living without kind of living without. I mean, I don't want to say I haven't lived without a father figure because I've got them there, but they're all so busy that it's not like I have one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you lived sometimes with your mom, sometimes you lived with your dad.
Yeah, and then a lot of times when I got really bad drugged out, I'd go live with my grandma 'cause she lived out in North Tulsa, which drugs were much easier to obtain out there.
Yeah.
Out in Cincinnati and Pine. Yeah, so you can imagine this definitely was easier to get drugs out there. It was cheaper and it's just spiraled. And I was actually with her at that time too. Sometimes the girl that was murdered, she would come over out there sometimes with me and we'd all spiral out and stuff and just go crazy while my grandma was gone at work.
Why do you think that at that young age you guys decided to get into those harder drugs?
Um, really, I just wanted a change of mind, change of just wanted to feel better.
Yeah, a lot of pain. Didn't want to feel that pain anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
How those drugs affect your life as far as experiencing life over the time? I suppose that at first it might have helped you subdue the pain some.
it helped me quite a bit to subdue the pain. Like the pain was no longer there once it was enact for a long time.
Yeah.
But then sooner or later it just doesn't help anymore. Then you're just doing it for no reason. But yeah, it helped subdue the pain at the time. It helped me feel like I had friends, helped me feel like I could hang out with people and stuff. But then whenever I first started smoking and stuff, my dad found out. It was like, obviously my dad wasn't cool with it. Who would want their child to smoke pot? Nobody does. I understand his perspective as well. I don't blame him for anything.
Yeah.
He was doing the right thing because my dad smoked pot when he was younger too.
But he
Yeah,
realized that it wasn't a good way out. He
precisely,
realized that it wasn't leading in a good direction. He knew what the
precisely.
end of it might be.
Yep, and obviously me being stubborn child, I went along that path
Yeah. Pretty deeply.
very deeply, and then the marijuana just marijuana. I could have stuck with marijuana, but after going to Tulsa and going to a nightclub I went to, that's whenever it really, really, really started spiraling off.
Yeah.
Because I did,
Escalated to the next level
yeah,
drugs.
I did meth for the first time. Didn't even know it. I did It was called Molly, as they called it. I thought I was doing Molly, so I was like, okay, this can't be that harmful. You know what I mean? People do it all the time. It's just methylene dioxymethamphetamine. It's not methamphetamine. It's close, but it's different. So I was like, amphetamine is what they give patients with ADHD. So I'm thinking it can't be that bad. So I try it, and I'm up all night dancing at some club, having a good time. And then the years down the line, we were out of Molly, and this girl was like, I got some ice. And I was like, okay, fuck it. I went, tried it, and felt precisely what I felt all those years. And
What was that?
the feeling of meth, blissfulness, speed, like you got energy, you feel like your brain goes faster, and it enhanced my brain, my thought, my philosophy in my mind. Like I was so philosophical. I would think things over. I would read things faster. Just it's good, bad, all around.
Yeah. What happened when you didn't do those
When
drugs?
I didn't do them drugs, I was surprisingly fine. A lot of people
So you
were
didn't crash like most people.
no. I whenever I did the drugs, I would just be prepared to do them for like days at a time, be up for days at a time, and then I'd be like, all right, don't do it. Time to go to sleep, wake up and eat, and then I'll be fine. I didn't have like a really bad like craving
Withdrawal
to do it again.
system or
And I think
syndrome.
what it was is I never really wanted to do it to begin with. I just liked having the people around that was there, you know.
Yeah.
It was very sociable, but I was locked in at the same time just because I was socially deprived.
So what do you do different now than you did then?
Well, now I just
You
I
have a
got a
child,
family
right?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a child. I got a fiance, and she's beautiful, and I love her a lot, and I I got people to live for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so neither one of you guys are doing drugs now,
No,
other
no,
than what's
no,
prescribed for your
no.
antipsychotic.
No, I smoke a little marijuana. I got my marijuana card, stuff like that. I'll smoke a little bit, but that's only whenever I'm about to go to bed or something like that. Helps with appetite. Stuff that my meds cause issues with, and there's other meds that I'd rather smoke than take more meds because I already take like 11 pills a day. Hey, let me count it real quick. I got about 6, 7, 8, 7 pills a day I take every day.
They plan to have you on this for the rest of your life?
Yeah, my lifespan will be shortened. So they said. And they said that eventually the meds will stop working because I will build a tolerance to them eventually. So I may go back in psychosis one day. It's very fearful.
My mind always goes to not understanding that, not understanding the pharmaceutical companies, not understanding how the brain works. I know that they probably know more than I do because I'm not a doctor, but it
Same.
does seem like there should be a way out for you to start weaning off of those somehow, some way.
There is, but I mean, winging off of it, well, it risks my chance of psychosis. And if I go psychosis, I kill myself or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I, it's just an option for
Yeah.
me.
So right now, medicine or the medical field does not have a way to help you out
Not
of
forever.
this. Out of this.
There's not a cure.
There's not a cure. You're set with it for the rest of your life.
I have to live with it from what they speak of, what they know of. And I haven't, tried alternative ways. I haven't tried like crazy plant based, mushroom based, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a little risky to try to do that whenever I could end up killing myself. I would have to be under intense medical treatment or in an intense facility.
Yeah.
I'd have to be watched, and I'd have to be, it'd be a long process. And I highly doubt they would pay anybody to do such research because they're going to make way more money off the pharmaceutical research in pharmaceutical companies than they will if they're making plant tinctures. Because then anyone could make them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know of some studies that are currently ongoing with some psychedelic companies. And in fact, the past governor of the state of Texas had a PTSD patient on there on one of the major podcasts not too long ago, talking about his one-time treatment that he received of psychedelics. And they said that it had to be really, like you said, really medically supervised, because if you do this, then it's a great chance that your heart will stop and never start again. And then they had some kind of drug to be able to counterbalance that, or
Like a Narcan or something.
whatever it
precisely.
was. That's way above my pay grade. The only thing I know is what they were saying, and it cured him with one treatment.
Mm.
And they are trying to get this passed in the United States to be able to have it here and do that. So there are, from what I understand, some options on the horizon for
I'm
people
trying
that
to
are
wonder what it
experiencing what
was.
you are experiencing. We can look it up later. Maybe we'll drop it in the notes.
Ketamine, psilocybin.
Yeah, one of those.
I've
Wasn't psilocybin. I made it. It might have been the ketamine.
Yeah, ketamine.
Yeah,
It's most likely what it was.
yeah. They said that if you're not under like ICU care,
Yeah,
direct,
there's a couple universities that are actually doing studies over it, and you can actually volunteer, I believe. But you have to go over there. But there's something else I was gonna say.
but you guys grew up in, or you grew up in a challenged environment. Do you know about her past when she was a child as well?
Very, very challenging, especially living with that brother of hers
Yeah,
at a young age.
yeah, yeah. And one of my sayings is hurting people hurt people. And if we can help people to stop hurting, maybe that would help them to stop hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
However, we do that, there's also a place where we need to go and help people that we can, and realize the ones that are not willing to receive, and then guard society from those people so that we don't continue this method of allowing that to occur. Now, where's the balance in that? They need to legislate it. Where's the balance in that? They need to have better systems to evaluate that. Because,
When I was young, I went to school in Catoosa when I was younger. And my dad, he was, he was there, but I got in trouble because I had found some razor blades somewhere or whatever, and I was just carving words into my arm, like just like bitch or fuck you or something like that. And then they took me and had to get me psychologically evaluated, and the guy told me that I was perfectly fine. And then I went home.
you're perfectly fine as you were carving into your skin with a knife. Is that what I
He
just
asked
heard?
me why I did it, and I said because I liked it.
And that's perfectly fine behavior.
Well, you see,
Good enough to send you home.
that's what I'm talking about. Like it's almost like they were almost blindfolded when they were trying to diagnose me then and there.
Yeah.
And it was difficult learning as well because as a delinquent growing up, you feel like you're the only one there. Especially when I moved back to Skytube schools, it was definitely a lot different than moving back from like Tulsa or staying in Tulsa because I wasn't in school. Then I went back to school and all that stuff. All that happened while I was with her. I was gonna go to Thunderbird at some point, and then
What is Thunderbird?
Thunderbird was a youth academy for children that were in trouble. But I decided not to go because I told him I didn't want to. If you tell him you don't want to, they can't make you. So instead, I did 2 days prison, 2 days jail time, this was for that beer that I told you about not too long ago. Whenever I was over at her house and her brother's friend popped up, he was just weird, and it's like they set me up because I walked up with beer. As soon as I walked out, 3 cop cars pulled up to their house. They set me up like they didn't want me to be there for some reason, and have a feeling why. It's just because it was pretty sick, but I think they were doing the doing deviant things to her and whatnot, as I've found out later. She would, and then she got really bad on K2, that spice stuff that you would buy, the synthetic marijuana. I don't like calling it that because it's not marijuana at all, and it's not synthetic marijuana. It's actually just a bunch of other drug chemicals sprayed on to potpourri or whatever you would call it, potpourri or whatever. I've tried it, seen people wig out on it. I didn't like it. It made me go crazy. I thought I smoked some fish eggs, and they had eggs in my throat, and they were hatching and were gonna crawl out my throat. Bad stuff like that. It's just growing up over there, it was pretty rough. And then there was a lot of kids doing it too at our school. It was an epidemic. Then they would be doing those triple C's, is what they were called, cough and cold medicine. They had a lot of that had DXM in it, was it dextromethorphan, and it's a substance that can alter your brain, like a psychoactive substance. And it comes in Delsum, Robitussin. So you got to buy it over the counter because dumb kids like me and my friends, whenever we were younger, we would chug a whole bottle just to trip, stuff like that. But it's just how we did it, and our lives, they changed to the point, and then it takes some large stuff to happen to change your life. Sometimes when you're stuck in a whirlpool like that, and then
Yeah. How do we help, quote, normal people relate to your story? The people that might have not had that childhood, might not have went down that road of choice to relieve pain that you guys had experienced from your childhood up to this point, and you chose to do something to keep that or help that pain not be there for a little while. How do we help regular people
deal with the
understand that?
crisis.
Yeah.
You don't expect nobody to just put for it to go the way. It's just always there. You just gotta learn to live with it, move on with it, and you gotta learn to not let it destroy you or change who you really are, because you gotta stay you no matter what. Because if you don't, you're just gonna fall down that path and to the same crisis that they did, or in the same crisis that you were once in before. And that's the least thing you want to happen.
Yeah. To anybody that you know, you don't want this to happen to your worst enemy, probably what you experience with going down that drug seeing or hearing about how the grandmother and the daughter were both murdered.
Along with that, and then a lot of all the psychosis and all the issues and stuff down the line that it brought me as well was bad. I just feel more sorry for the girl that had to show up and find the corpse. That's what I feel sorry for the most.
Yeah, how
I
is
was
she?
very angry with the girl that was murdered at the time before, and I regret not saying bye, stuff like that, or just being nice. But I was very angry. I had a reason. She would bring a guy over, whatnot, say we're not dating. I said okay. Well, then I brought 3 girls over, and then she got upset. and then we just stopped talking after that.
Yeah, those kind of things happen, even in grown adult relationships, and jealousy and envy and provocation and manipulation and all of that's not healthy for anybody, and
Not
be
at
better
all.
if everybody just stopped doing that and had a honesty with each other, saying this relationship's not working out. I need to do something different, or this is what it is, and just be honest. There's no need in lying because that's not helping anybody, and
No,
trying to make somebody else feel bad is not going to help yourself feel better.
no.
But now you have a fiance, a child. Guys are staying at your mom's house now, and she's gotten cleaned up and living a better life.
She's been clean for a long, long time, and yeah, she got her she went to school. She got her LPN licensed practical nurse. She's doing great. I'm proud of her, honestly, and she's made up for everything that she's done in the past, in my opinion,
Good.
and beyond.
And then
And I
you are,
respect that.
yeah,
And I'm trying to make up for my mistakes and my bad stuff by being a better father to my son,
yeah, yeah.
who's now 5 years old,
Yeah.
and he's about to start school.
Help break the cycle. Help break the cycle, I think, is what I just heard you say, Elijah.
Yes, break the cycle. Indeed, I want to spread my legacy, but I don't want it to be like mine.
Yeah, you want it to be a
Or my
positive influence.
father's. Exactly.
Help society have a better standing by your individual family.
And he's not fully my blood, so I have a better opportunity.
You were telling me that you guys have a Facebook group.
We do. It's actually let me think here.
At one time,
It was mental health united. I got it. It's a nice Facebook group. I started not too long ago. I got to communicate on Reddit. I don't use the Reddit as much, and but you can still get on there and talk, ask questions about any subject. I'll answer. I have friends on there also that have been through schizophrenia and have had depressive, manic episodes, bipolar episodes, all that stuff. And I hope to have some merchandise up soon. And also, it's just there to help people. If anyone has questions, like they can ask. There, you can ask anonymously if you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be seen or anything like that. You can ask anonymously, and we'll answer any questions. I answer as soon as I can, as fast as I can. I'm on the group consistently, and it's a. There's lots of other groups as well, but mine's gonna be a little bit more vast and have a lot of variety. And we're gonna have more people that actually been through experiences and want to talk about experiences because we love to hear other people's experiences, and it helps other people hear other people's experiences by knowing that they're not the only person that's been through that experience.
Yeah.
Because it's scary sometimes thinking that, and you're like, it changes your world. It gives you a derealization, as it's called. You derealization. You just don't know if it's real. You don't know if you feel real. You don't know if life feels real. Just hearing it from someone else's perspective can help you feel real yourself.
Yeah. So I found that commonality in a lot of different social environments. Maybe this person's trying to build their business and somebody else has already been there, done that, or this person's trying to do this for the community and they find a mentor So what you're saying is you guys have been there, done that, and if somebody's in the middle of experiencing that, maybe you guys can help them walk out of that instead of stay where they are.
Precisely. Just give him a basis of what I did to escape that and to understand that and to know when you are having hallucinations or triggers or attacks or manic episodes, whatever people want to call them.
Yeah. So you've built a peer support group on Facebook, and tell us the name of that again, please.
It's Mental Health United. It's it's just Mental Health United. You put it in Facebook, you see it right there. Got a big red border, say Mental Health United. Got a couple stories in there so far. I've got about 3. And I got at one case I've been on time there talking about because I used to want to grow microgreens a whole lot just because I learned that there's a special uh chemical that's found inside certain coniferous plants like broccoli, and it's most prominent inside of broccoli sprouts, which is a common microgreen that they grow, which is just a plant that's grown and harvests 4 days or 7 days before its true leaves show. So you harvest the plant, and sulforaphane is the chemical. It's called SFN for short, and it's very interesting because it can help with cognitive brain recovery with like dementia, helps with schizophrenia. It can help with a lot of things in your brain. It can help regulate your blood flow, all that good stuff. So I started growing it for a while there and wanted to grow it. That's my dream right now, to start my own microgreen business. It's been for a long time, but once all of the sickness and illness that I got came, I lost all my money and everything I had to put into the organization. It's a little difficult when you can't drive because you got a license or you got a permit. You had to go get your permit illegally because no one, no one would take you driving, So you got to drive illegally. You got to do what you got to do, and sometimes in life, it's all we can do. It's weird how you gotta have a permit to drive with someone in the car with you, but what if you ain't got a permit and you ain't got no one in the car to drive with you? Or if you gotta have a driver's license to drive, but you don't have a way to drive to get your driver's license. It's just a redundant situation.
Sure. Yeah. And a lot of people live in those vicious cycles or between a rock and a hard place. I hope that people find a way where there doesn't seem to be a way so that they can live legally by asking for help from people that might be able to help them do that. And I don't know where all the support solutions are right now, but we are building relationships with the community to try to help people get pointed in the right direction. And all that being said, life challenges are real. They can steer your ship, or you can steer your ship yourself. One of the worst things to do for yourself is to reach out for a band-aid to fix an underlying problem, but that does give temporary solutions that typically lead to worse experiences that you'll have to deal with in the future. So if you're dealing with something, find somebody that can help you. Don't mask a pain, because that won't do anything other than lead you down the wrong road even further. This concludes our Tulsa Talks episode. Thank you for coming, Elijah.
Thank you for having me, Craig. I hope that what we've spoken can help reach some lives and help some people and save some people from going down the same direction that I did. Maybe stop while you can. Don't wait till someone's dead, and live your life to the fullest, because you don't need drugs to do it. Trust me. I've learned that having a family now.
Thanks a lot.
You as well, Greg.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?